Okay, well, maybe we'll kick it off right on the nose. Yeah, welcome to another webinar for Build with Nova. Really excited to kick it off. It's been, I think, last one we did was mid-October. And we actually had Sean and Miche jump in and we did a big in-depth look at the hotspot tool, which was really good and kind of a really solid refresh. Sean, I hear you today. Thanks for joining again. Today, Build with Novo. So we've been kind of in this like big development cycle where we've been working on kind of six major projects over the last, since August. And we're kind of releasing them in two batches of three, just because it's such a big fundamental change to the app. And so today, and we're going to be going over three of those kind of new features that are coming out. So jump into it. First of all, what is Build with Nova? Build with Nova is an opportunity. So there's a ton of momentum behind Nova right now. It's actually incredibly exciting. And one of the things that this webinar helps is to make sure that we stay on the rails. As there's more and more people using it, as it's bringing more and more value to the public safety and emergency response space, we really want to stay clear on what we're building and making sure that we're not building features and tools that nobody else wants, that we just, did I just get signed out? Oh no, I'm still there. So just in terms of just making sure that we're on track, and it's a great place for us to hear feedback, for you guys to get early insights in terms of what we're building. At the end, there's a big Q&A session. So if you have any feedback, feel free to share it then, or send us a note after. We'd love to hear it as we kind of get into it. So yeah, thanks for coming. Today's discussion is being led by myself. I'm the co-founder CEO here at Nova, and joining me is our customer success manager, Jacob, who I'm sure a few of you guys have met. Jacob comes from a wildland background, fought fires in Ontario, and then he was a structural firefighter. And then he spent a couple summers flying drones on wildfires. So he's seen a ton of search and rescue work, a ton of real world application of drones, and he's just been an incredible addition to the team. Jacob, I'm sure you haven't met most of the folks on, so I'll just give you the floor.
The floor. Yeah, I guess Rob more or less just summed it up. Wildland firefighter, structural firefighter, flying drones on wildfires, different missions all over the map. But now I'm working as the customer success manager within Nova, and there's nothing more than I love than being here and working with Nova. It's the best software.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Cool, dude. Thank you. On to the next. So format and content. We try to aim for the last Tuesday of every month. It's about 45 to 60 minutes. We're kind of moving. The last one we did kind of mid-October, and the next one we're actually going to be doing mid-December before the Christmas break. And we'll kind of get into what we're going to be covering there, but that's roughly it. We try to, just appreciate your guys' time and not run over. So this is our biggest, kind of this part one and part two is definitely going to be our biggest release today.
So what we're going to be focusing in on today is Colourfinder version 2. I know a lot of you guys have used Colourfinder version 1. Today we're going to go over the new features, the whole layout of Colourfinder version 2. The devs, I have to give a huge shout out to them. They've been working tirelessly on this, and they've done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, and actually, shout out to everybody that came to our Build with Nova in July. We actually went over the initial designs of what we were going to be building. And so now today, 4 or 5 months later, we're actually kind of seeing that land, which is really super exciting.
Absolutely. After that, we'll focus in on new layers, the new layer panel. And lastly, we'll touch up on the 3D map terrain.
Sweet. And then on December 16th, we'll be going over the new pilot tracking and fleet management design. So just like we did with Colorfinder version 2, where we kind of, before we started building it, we brought everybody into a room and we're like, hey, this is what we're thinking. This is what we want it to look like. What do you guys think about it? We'll be doing that on December 16th. We'll be landing that in early to mid-March. So getting the designs in, finalized before the New Year's, and then really focus hard on building that out. Then we'll be looking at the on-controller live stream. So this is a shift in the way our live stream currently works. And for folks that are out there using it every day, currently you have to take a code from the web app and enter it into your controller. You'll actually navigate now, you'll sign in to Nova from your controller and you'll navigate to the project or workspace that you want to start working in. And you won't actually, and you'll be able to just start your live stream, share it with whoever without actually having to open your laptop. So it's a lot more seamless, and that plays in and dovetails really nicely to the next really huge feature is both real-time hotspots and real-time orthomosaics. So as you're flying and as you're capturing images, those are uploading, and in real time, you're processing them into an ortho. So that theoretically, if we do this just right, and we're starting to think we might, but if we do this just right, by the time you're done your drone flight, your ortho map will be completely processed within the app. So that will be coming in, landing first thing in the new year. And yeah, we're going to have a whole dedicated Build with Nova session for that one on December 16th. But for today, jumping back into Colorfinder version 2. Oh, yeah. So I'm going to jump into the app here in just a second. This is kind of the preview for Colorfinder V2. But I kind of want to give a huge shout out to Timothy Danley from Willows, California, Northwind Aerial. If you've been on our YouTube channel, you've seen him. He has just been an incredible contributor and addition to the community. And Tim, everything you're doing here just gets us so stoked. So thank you. Tim, by the way, supplied the sample data sets that we're going to be using today for the Build with Nova. We'll be jumping into our layers panel redesign. This is kind of like, it's kind of one of these things where you take it for granted a little bit, but actually when you're in the app and you're using it, the place where we're interacting and we're spending most of our time is working in the layers panel. So when we started looking at what rebuilding that looked like, not only to incorporate features that people have wanted to see, but also how do we make it as like performant and smooth as possible. And I think we've really hit the nail on the head. It's really nice. And then finally, 3D map terrain. So taking all of these layers and being able to visualize them on a terrain layer for the number of times I've looked at a flat map now that we have this feature, and then I've turned on 3D layers and I'm like, oh, that's actually like not fun to walk around, has been really helpful. So 3D map terrain just gives us a little bit more insight into the landscape that we're working on and the products that we're delivering for folks. Next up, get into the software. Okay, the devs, just to give you guys a heads up, the devs let me know that I have to refresh my screen here before we get going, which just shows how close we are to some of this, but also just how hard everybody's been working to land this Build with Nova webinar. So give it a second to refresh. I'm going to jump down to Willows, California here, go see what Tim's been up to down here. So I'm going to start this off. We've got our missing teddy bear search area. So for this, Tim went out and he took a bunch of his kids' teddy bears and hid them all around his almond farm and then flew his drone over. And our job here today is to kind of go over and try to find them. I'm going to highlight a couple of small but meaningful features as we move on. First thing is that we can see we've added an outline feature to our text layers. I know James Michael's on the call. When I was down with him on the Chinese campfire earlier this year, that's something we talked about. But you'll actually be able to see now when I change my background layer, I can see, let's switch this over to white. We still get to hold, regardless of what color our text is and what our background layer is, we can still see that text nice and clearly. So it's been really useful. The next big one is the ability to start adding media to our icon. So I'm going to click here, and what we're going to see pop up here are a whole bunch of photos that we can now attach to our icon. So if you're out there with your cell phone or you've got a single drone image that you want to attach to an icon, you can add that really quickly. And you can also scroll through them here so we can kind of see all the different bears. This is a real bear. This guy might be the culprit, actually. But you can see all the, you can see all the images here. And then Tim was nice enough to provide us with the real image of the teddy bears that we're looking for. It's a really, really great hat right there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump into, and also guys, we're on a preview environment. This isn't live in production yet. So there's like some possibility that we might experience a crash kind of halfway through this. But so let me jump down into SAR task here. Actually, you can also see now that we have icons on the map for our Colourfinder missions. So if I jump in here, I go view color data. This is going, it's going to take just a second to load this video. It's pretty big, but we have our map area down here, down in our bottom right. So this, when we have the right SRT file, we can see the movement of the drone as it's going along. We can collapse all of our different panels here. So for all of the different functions and use cases, we can kind of collapse these as we need to. So I can create a lot of room and space. And look, our video just appears. So let's now undo everything I just did there. Uh-oh, but there's this annotate feature here. Go away. Uh-oh. I don't know how to get past that. There we go. Okay. And then, so I'll open these back up and we'll kind of go through. So where to start? We've got the color wheel up here, top left. This is traditional. This is what the last Colourfinder was built on. And there's a lot of power in this. So this is showing us the full breadth of pixel values across our entire video. But then the ones that are highlighted are the pixel values that are active in the current frame of the video that we see here. Here we have the ability to now choose a file, pick a color. Let me grab, I have to go back one. Pick a color, jump into here, and I can now be like, hey, I'm looking for this blue color. I can change hue, saturation, and brightness. I'm still kind of getting used to using this, but we can see that we can kind of now add and search for specific colors if we have information about the lost subject. Down here, we have our anomaly detector. Thanks, Jake. We have our anomaly detector, which is designed to kind of statistically analyze our video for pixels that stand out and that are different from other things. We've got another 2 weeks of kind of just smoothing things out. And one of the things we're really focused on is just tweaking these numbers and making sure it works just right. But it's a great start. And we can adjust the filter opacity of the filter. And I can also change the anomaly detector down here so that we can start to see as I want to be able to, adjust those numbers and play with them. I can get things to stand out. So in this case, for example, we have this color right here standing out. Oh, look, our map just disappeared. I'm going to, I don't want to close it. So we also have this map view down here. It just disappeared from us. I don't really want to refresh, but as the drone's flying, we can watch the drone on the map in its location so that we can get a good sense of where it's at and what it's doing. Next, we have color timeline, which is another returning feature from Colourfinder version 1. But now we've added some strength to it. One, we can now add comments over here on the right. And we'll get a little note down here right where that comment is. So, for example, Tim wrote, "Blue Sonic just left to center." So let's see. We can kind of see we've got some blue colors over here. Let's hope this works. Let me circle them. Ooh, that didn't work. Sorry, guys. It's almost ready for prime time. So I can circle that, and what we get is we can see this little pixel value right here in the center of the screen, which is that blue teddy bear. Now I can, just by scrolling, oh, that didn't quite work. Just by scrolling, I can pull in really tightly on our color timeline so I can get a really close view of it. I can also now scroll in on the video itself so I can get a really good sense of what it is that we're looking at. A really fast follow for this is the ability to create a bounding box around the colors that you've selected. So it's a little bit more prominent when you're zoomed out. And yeah, so if I turn this off, we can see we have teddy bear number 1. Yeah, great work, Jake. Great work. So you can see that throughout the video as you make comments. So let's say I jumped over to this point in the video. I can change what this icon looks like. And be like, hey, this is an area of interest. Oh, you can see that as I'm hitting spacebar, it's getting the video to start playing and stop playing. I can hit that, and it's going to add this little comment to the color timeline. Now in here, I can actually go and I can reply in line. So if I want to follow up on a conversation, I can jump in here and I can be like, nothing here. Yeah, there we go. It's playing it. Okay. So as we move up and to the right, we have this, this comment box, which corresponds with where you're at in the video. You can scroll in and out on the video. And I can also now jump up here and I can change my different view screens. Oh yeah, so now we've got the map back. I think Zach told me to do that if it broke. So we can kind of jump around. So if I want the map to be kind of the focus of what we're doing, I can pull this in here. I can also jump back to where our original view was. And I've got these settings if I want to change, let's say the map base layer. And then finally, if I want, and I can click on this create icon. Let's say we want to go to shape. We should actually maybe have this default to the Sarcop toolkit, but I can pick an icon and I can place it on the map where I want it. So let's go targeted search. Let's add this right here. I don't know if it worked. I don't think it worked, but it's close. The idea is there. It should work. And by the time we release this to production, it will. So you can actually drop those icons on the video, and then they'll show up on the map just where you want them. So yeah, this is Colourfinder. We can jump into the Q&A session after this. Oh, what aircraft?
I'm happy to answer that.
Yeah, please. Tim.
So for this specific image set right here, used a Mavic 3 Pro and was flying right around 160 feet AGL.
Sweet. Yeah. What was it, a Mavic 3?
Yeah, that's right. Right, Tim?
Yeah, it seemed like it might have glitched out for a second. Mavic 3 Pro, right around 150 feet or so AGL.
And I think you've also got a data set, the same one with an M30T, is that right?
Correct. I can upload that later if we need.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, and also if Tim's okay with it, thinking about maybe offering this as a sample data set for testing the Colourfinder for new folks.
Absolutely.
It's incredible, Tim. Thank you. Okay, let's get into Colourfinder. We can kind of jump and
Hey, question actually.
yeah, please.
So you're showcasing this video. How does it work with images? Like if I upload a bunch of images, does the same kind of process work?
So glad you asked. So I actually have that view color data right here. I'm going to pull this up, get my map view all straightened out here, and same thing. So what's different is you can see that the color timeline is a lot more discrete. There's just fewer frames to display those colors for. So if we jump over here, right to this frame where we can see this blue really starting to pop out over here. If I circle this, I'm not the best. We can see just this, and again, I think we need some way to highlight this, but we can see that it's just picked up this little blue this little blue pixel here. And if I turn this off, I can see that it's one of those teddy bears. I'm not sure which one because it's, we're flying at 150 feet, but we can see that we can pick up really small and difficult to see things pretty easily. The other thing is, I'll add to that, you actually don't need to upload your data. So if you're working in the field and you have kind of a sketchy connection and it's not very strong, what you can do is you can actually just run these offline as long as you're connected to the browser. So not technically offline, but as long as you're connected to the browser, you can run all of this analysis without having to upload the data. So if you're a little uncertain about your connection, it's not a big deal. You can still run that. Carrie, I see you've got a question there. How do we pull the lat long of the point in real time to relay to a team via radio?
Copying coordinates.
Yeah. So if this works, I don't know if it's going to. Let's try it again. Oh yeah, heck yeah, it worked. So, okay, so we've got our point here. So I've just dropped that point, Carrie, on the map. And what I'm going to do So I'm going to jump down here. I'm going to click on it. Oh, it's already selected. I've got my coordinate here. I can copy this and I can get that out to whoever needs to see it. So if you want to get those out really easily, hopefully, and there's probably some ways we can make that quicker, but that's kind of the way to do it right now.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I can talk about Colourfinder all day, guys. But I'll jump into the layers panel next, and don't hesitate to keep dropping things in the chat. Next up is our layers panel. So just to kind of start, and we really, when we were down on the Palisades fire with CAL FIRE and LAFD and LA County last year, we really saw the layers panel in its current form being stressed to the max. So hundreds of layers, lots of points, lines, polygons, text. And it was really hard to kind of keep things organized and to know where things were and what. Especially as days went on, keeping everything together became really kind of challenging. So when we started working on this, we wanted to make it so that we could have a lot of layers in a single project, but we could also keep it really organized. So we weren't, getting frustrated with having 200 layers here. So we've done a lot of work here. The first thing that we'll see is that this create button, currently in app, it's full width across the layers panel. But we've shortened it and we've added some nice color and animation, but we've shortened it to be able to add this close feature. So if you want more map real estate, what you can do is you can close that. And as long as I hover my cursor over to the left-hand side of the screen, our layers panel will still appear. I can work in it. I can, click on different things, and then I can move my cursor off and it'll disappear. So if you're kind of stretched for screen space, this is one really nice way to keep it, to kind of maximize that real estate. The next big thing is we've had a lot of people with really complex and long files and really long naming structures for different things. And so what we can do is, let's jump into it. So we can see we've got the ellipsis here at the end of Colourfinder. But what I can now do is I can now drag this over. I can just about double the size of it, which gives me a lot more space. The other thing we've added is the ability to group 3 layers down. So in this case, I can have a whole bunch of different data layers from different projects across any amount of time, and I can now dig into that and keep it organized without just having a single grouping layer. So this has been a kind of like the first big attempt, or the first thing we approached the layers panel with. Then as we were building it, we realized that we actually wanted a way to distinguish between maybe not throwaway layers, but maybe like secondary layers and the things that are really important. So let's say you have a whole bunch of points, lines, and polygons. You have a whole bunch of text across your project, and you want to be able to access an orthomosaic from 4 days ago. We've added this assets tab here. So this assets tab grabs all, and it kind of grabs the layers like orthomosaics, hotspots, Colourfinder, fire perimeters, kind of any of those main layers that we see in the create button here. We've added them here, so now you can quickly filter between them. So if I have like six hotspot flights, for example, they'll now appear and I'll get these little thumbnails so I can know exactly what I'm looking for and how to access it. So I can just visually, keep better tabs on how things work. Then finally, we've added this search button here. So the search button functions not only for searching for individual layers, but more importantly as a filter. So if I just want to look at, let's say, the hotspots layers that I've created, or the hotspots and Colourfinders, let's say, is I can click on those, I can apply them, and then these are all of the folders with those particular files in them. So I can really quickly move through that. And then when we get over to the Assets tab, what I can do is when I go to Filter by Asset, I can filter by who created it. So I can look at, let's say you've had a pilot that was on a project, a search and rescue or a fire, a few days ago, and you want to find the layers that they've created without navigating through the layers panel. You can jump over to Asset, you can filter by creator, And of course, I've created everything here, so we're not gonna, we're not gonna see anything. But you can now quickly see that. And same with PDFs. If you're looking for PDFs that a specific user in the workspace created, you can jump in, you can, oh, look at this. I can filter by Thomas Buckholtz, and I can see all the PDFs that Thomas has made. It's the only one here. But we have a lot more search functionality in terms of being able to keep things organized within the layers panel itself. I'll take a quick breath. Any questions? I see Brandon. Yeah, that's great, Brandon. Great point. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, shoot.
So yesterday we were on a search and we were using Colourfinder, and then we ended up finding the subject with dogs. We then wanted to take that same data that we'd uploaded on Colourfinder and make an ortho mosaic. Is it possible to do that without, re-uploading that data, or, like using that same data, just kind of select and make an ortho mosaic?
Yes, it is. You can go, but right now it's not bidirectional. It's you can only go, and I can maybe pull it up. But I think you can upload your Colorfinder photos, and actually hold on. Maybe I'll just jump into production really quickly. Let's see if I can do it from here actually. I go create, and I go ortho mosaic. No, it's not going to let me. I know there's a way you might be able to, if I go create Colourfinder. Yeah, load from layers. So what we can do, and it should be both directions right now, Hunter. But what we can do is we can grab, so if you create that ortho mosaic first, when you go to create your Colourfinder, you can go load from layer. So you can grab, you click load from layer, and then you select which ortho mosaic you want, and it'll pull those photos. Probably fast follow real quick. We'll be kind of making that work both directions, because that would be super, super valuable. So
Cool. Yeah, that would be a big help.
yeah, awesome. Okay, before we get into questions, we'll go to the last feature that I want to give a big shout out to Luke. He's our co-op student for this fall semester, and his entire time here has been spent building a terrain layer. So Luke, thank you. It looks great. I'm going to open our layers panel here, and I'm going to jump to a fire that we've been kind of demoing since the very beginning. So I'm going to jump over here. This is the Wylington fire, and this is one for me where I was like, oh yeah, like when you turn on that terrain layer, it really gives you a lot more context in terms of what you're looking at. So now down next to the background button, we have this terrain, this terrain button. And so if I turn this on, what we get is actually we get the full, zoom out a little bit so those tiles load, but we get the full kind of 3 dimensions of what this fire actually looks like. And when you see it on the mountaintop, it just adds like a bit of a different perspective to everything that we're doing and we're seeing here. And what I might have available, because I think it might be kind of cool, but I haven't tested it, so this doesn't work. You'll just have to forgive me. I'm going to jump into desktop. I'm going to go data. I'm going to grab fire because I think we can pull up this video here. Let's grab this. Let's go wide with wide. Open. And so let's see if this will work. So this is going to show us. So here we also have, now that we have the layer on, we can see exactly what that video is capturing alongside the fire there. It's mostly working. So I'll just change my background view here to a default. So we can get a really good sense of where that drone is and what exactly this video is capturing from that hillside slope. So as we're coming kind of over the edge of it, we get a lot more context on what exactly we're seeing and where. So yeah, this is turn this off. Whereas this is again on the flat 2D map. But yeah, this is it. This is our build with Nova this week. Let's jump into here. Live demo, sweet. Even more next month. Again, pilot tracking, we're going over, and it says pilot, but it's pilot and fleet tracking. So really how we're tracking all of our equipment, how that's being viewed and accessed in app, how we're looking at stats from different pilots, what that looks like. Then we're getting into, and this will be ready for at least early new year is the Controller app and how that really changes our live stream capability. And then, like I said, dovetailing with real-time hotspot detection, real-time orthomosaic, seeing all of those things come together. We're really excited about it. It's been a long time in the making. So yeah, that's December 16th. Our travel schedule, Q1. Oh no, this is our roadmap. So we're going to be looking at notifications, commenting, and just an amendment to that is also just tracking for just being able to like logging every action within the app so that you can go back and you can see who's added things, who's commented, who's interacted with the map. We have the Controller app. We're adding a beta tag to it, but that will come with real-time hotspots and hopefully real-time orthomosaics. And then points, lines, and polygons version 3 will start in design in January as well. So that's really like taking a big, deep look at the way that points, lines, and polygons work within the app and how we interact with it and what kind of data we can attach to it. And one thing we've heard a ton is people wanting to be able to rotate icons. And so we're really just going to like take a look at everything we've built, take a look at all the requests that we've had from folks and everything that we've learned and really kind of turn that into that next version. Late Q1, so coming out in March with pilot fleet tracking, that dovetails nicely with user profile. Skydio live streaming will also be in Q1. So at the outset, we'll just be supporting DJI drones, but we're working with the Skydio team. Things look really promising. So we'll have live streaming for Q1. And then really super fast orthomosaics, like where we're watching them get built in real time. And then early Q2, some new stuff around global navigation, which you'll probably get a sneak peek at if you come to the next Build with Nova in December, just in terms of how we navigate at the home, at kind of like the workspace level. Spatial asset tracking. So this is kind of another way to enter projects, but we'll be able to see all of our projects across a map and be able to click on them and enter them. And then a bit more around workspace stats and dashboards. Caveat, this is subject to change. We get excited about things and things can, turn on a dime. But this is like, broadly speaking, where we think we're at this point. So, and then travel, December, January, we got IFC Tech Summit in Texas, SJDOG in California, SJ Dog. We've got Florida Fire and EMS, NASF, Fire Chiefs Florida. Dan will be at both of those ones. We've got county sheriffs in Colorado and the NEFFPC in Maine. And then Alabama Fire Chiefs and First Nations Guardian in Oklahoma in February, but that's bound to kind of fill up. So yeah. Yeah, questions. I see Dan's kind of jumped into the chat here. He's at home with a sick kid today, so he wasn't able to do this one, but he's bringing all his knowledge into the chat. Really appreciate it, everybody that was able to make it. And yeah, love to hear from you. Sweet. Oh, Hans, so you got your hand up there. I can't hear you.
There we go. Unmuted.
Oh, yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you, man.
Oh, hey, how you guys doing? Great webinar. Really appreciate all the support. My question was regarding the on remote app, as far as the functionality behind it. As we start to navigate this process with DJI, at least in the United States, what kind of functionality might that have as like a full onboard control app, being able to fly the aircraft on that independently of anything else?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And, we've been super curious about how this whole DJI thing rolls out. I think that kind of what we'll do, like at the outset, it hasn't been designed as an on-app controller. it's been designed so that you can live stream and you can do real-time hotspots and orthos, but still use whatever the native flight controller app is. So whether it's Skydio or DJI, you can leverage the tools that have already been built and have already been like worked on by a lot of people. But if there becomes a real if there's a real incentive to kind of look at building out a little bit more of a complete flight experience, I think it's definitely something that we would, consider. We considered it once already, and so we've got a bit of an idea of what it looks like to build.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Totally. I think the other thing I'll mention about it is because we looked at it and it's kind of like with the API that DJI lets you use for building those flight controller apps, it's kind of like they give you the like the valet keys. So they give you a lot of the functionality, but they don't give you total just you can't jump in and replicate exactly what they've built. So that was one of the reasons that we're a little bit hesitant to kind of jump into it. But again, like if it's something with the DJI banner that suddenly makes sense, then we've got a really talented team that loves new challenges. Who's sorry? I think we've got another question here. Sorry, I just Michael, Jeff, could you do the video overlay one more time? I had to run out for a call and missed it. Yeah, I can definitely pull that up. And then I've got one from Michael Brooks here. What would the possibility of an app on our computer to log in and easy access directly to local color finder? Yeah, I think that when we think about like offline capability or cloning what we have today, I think that as Nova continues to get momentum and as we have more and more users, I think some desktop capability, and I don't want to tie us to anything here, but I think some desktop capability is likely, as long as people keep liking what we're doing, it's like an eventual road to go down. I will say it's not on the midterm roadmap even, but it is something we've talked about, and we've talked about kind of the value of being able to do a lot of this offline, and we've seen some cool examples of it happening with other programs. So yeah, it's a great question. Matt Costair, are there any plans to add fire perimeter creation using? Yeah, we actually already have that, thankfully. So maybe what I'll do is I'll jump in, although I'm using preview. Maybe so what else, because I don't think the fire perimeter works in our preview environment, but here's our overlay here, Jeff. So kind of get a picture of that. And then what I'll show you, Matt, is kind of that using so I'll show you how to do it. And I don't know if I'll actually be able to do it, but I jump into create and I go fire perimeter, and I can go yeah, no, because I think in this case we want I go auto. Thanks, Jake. I go flight paths, then I can select whichever flight path was used. So let's say I select the flight path that was used for this one, which I think is hotspot 1. It's going to be kind of janky here because but if you're flying around the edge or something like that, it will kind of do exactly what you want. So yeah, so you can grab the flight path from the drone to do it already. Thanks, Travis. Not really sure about the stashes. Bro, this is 2 weeks. I'm 2 weeks in. This is all I've got to show. I have a question about the roadmap. This is from Daniel. I have a question about the roadmap. When you mentioned fleet management, are you referring to GPS feed from, for example, Kenwood radios or only air assets? You know what, Dan, I'd love to chat with you more about the GPS feed because I think that would be really cool. I know right now the way we're building it is it's structured initially to really be focused on drones and handling that, but ultimately kind of the way we're building it is that it's scalable for different types of assets. And if there's an opportunity to kind of jump in and chat with you about that, that'd be cool. Yeah, guys, great. Kind of hang out here for another minute. Happy to show anything. Jeff, I'll actually do a better job showcasing. So here we've got our 3D map here. Got this funny looking fire perimeter that we just created from the flight path. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go create. I'm going to go video choose files. And so from here, I'm going to grab this video with this here. I'm going to add these on. And we should be able to watch it without uploading it. So I go play video. Again, just like Colourfinder, you can play videos without uploading them. So if you just want a quick view, we can see the field of view of the camera. We can see the location of the drone, where it's facing, and then the video that we're seeing here. Cool. Sweet dude. Yeah. Jacob, what are you most excited about in app?
Right now, I'd have to say Colourfinder. Honestly, the new version is just, it's next level. It's a huge step up. And like I said before, huge shout out to the devs. I love the new layout. I think the biggest thing is the pin dropping when you get to select on your actual footage or image and being able to place that pin on a specific spot versus kind of like re-referencing where you're kind of looking at. I think that's that's next level.
Yeah, the new Colorfinder is just insane. The amount of work that not only to like build it the way that it looks, but also to have it be performant and run really fast has been just an incredible amount of engineering. One thing, I'm getting a shout out from Rachel that had another question. Okay, sweet, yeah. Hans, do you have your question up? And then Les, I think Les and Hans. Whoever speaks first can ask the question first. Oh. Les, we got you.
Yeah, I got a question regarding the Colourfinder. So let's say we're doing the missing person search. We know they were wearing red, so you go through your workflow to do that. But because of the heavy tree canopy, the camera won't pick up on that color for various reasons. Would your heat sensor capability in your program then maybe find it by picking up on the thermal signature?
Yeah, and we kind of jump into it, and it depends a little bit, right? Like if your subject's been missing for 3 days and they look deceased, like it's gonna struggle a little bit more with that. But we can take some of the principles that we apply to the way we think about hotspots, to the way that we think about color finding. So one of the things that makes the hotspot tool really powerful is you're actually finding individual hotspots. Because you're building that orthomosaic, which means you're getting lots of overlap between your images, which means that a single point in the ground is usually captured anywhere from like 8 to 12 times. So that from all sorts of different angles. So when you're working in heavy canopy, it works really effectively because even if you don't see a hotspot, from let's say 7 out of the 8 times that that area of ground is covered, you're likely going to find it on that last pass. So and I think you can take that same print. So the way the hotspots works is that it can see through that canopy, or it can at least give you a high probability of success when looking through that canopy because it's actually going and looking at that like point in space a whole bunch of different times. But if we take that same principle and we apply it to Colourfinder, we might actually get the same results. So yes, you probably could use the hotspot detector for it. We have people using it like right now, just a ton of work looking for like cattle on the range. So people using it to find cows in places where they don't want the cows to be. But so you could take that same principle and apply it to people, but you might also be able to take that same principle of like getting lots of overlapping photos of the same area and hopefully just getting a glimpse from one of those photos of the pixel value that you're looking for. And I think this, I guess, leads to a really great next point about Colourfinder is like, right now we're kind of learning. We took a lot of like feedback when we were developing it. We talked with a bunch of people, really tried to, kind of really dial it in terms of exactly what it was going to do. But I think its real value is going to come in the next 3 months. It's going to come in the next 3 months once people start using it and they start saying things like, hey, it's cool that I can do this, but what I really need is this. Or for it to be really effective for our team, we need it to be able to accomplish these things. And I think hearing those over, the next 3 months, once people get their hands on it and like tell us, because we'll take those and action them, and we can really make sure that we've got just a super dialed tool for search and rescue.
Just laughing at Tim's comment.
Oh, what did Tom? Yeah, Tim is great for science. Tim is great for science. Getting things loaded in Colourfinder and I usually use photo portion, but is a video just easier, quicker option for getting things loaded in Colourfinder and hotspot detection? It really depends. I think images are a higher resolution, so you get higher resolution, and you can run the color anomaly, Dan, without uploading those photos. So if you're like, hey, I just want to get a quick look, and I'll show you how that works right now. Let me close this video here. I'll show you how that works right now. But if I jump into the create button and I go Colourfinder, and let's say I go import images, choose files, I'm going to go, and I'm just going to grab color. Oh, wait, no, it was on the desktop here. We had Build with Nova, Colourfinder, stuffy footage. So if I grab all these photos here and I want to quickly analyze them, instead of actually uploading them, what I can do is it's going to take a second here, but once they're staged on the map, I can actually view the color data without uploading it. So if you want a really quick view, this color data is already available to view. That took like less than 2 seconds. And that means that, so you have to zoom out here. This is kind of funky, but like in 10 seconds, I was able to upload all those photos, or not upload, but I was able to visualize all those photos without having to upload. So if you want a quick look at them, Dan, I would, I would just not, the main prompt here is upload. But if you look just above it, you can see view color data without having to upload it. So that's a way faster way. Whether that's photos or video, it works, just as fast in both cases. Sweet. Points, lines, and polygons. I mentioned those earlier. If you guys have thoughts about how you would like to see those change, definitely let us know, because we're going to be doing a really big deep dive, a lot of research, finding out what other apps have done right, what we could do better, where there's opportunity to grow. And if there's things that you guys really want to see just in terms of how you interact with them, the types of data you can attach to them, should they scale as you zoom in and out? Should they be fixed on the map? Should there be options for both? If you have an icon set that we don't currently support, how do we get those? How do we make it easier for people to add their own icon sets? There's a million questions that we want to jump into, even from like the baseline colors, right? Because ours are a little bit muted here. And maybe in some cases we want them a little bit more, at least we want more options potentially. So there's lots that we're going to be kind of evaluating when it comes to that PLP3. So do not hesitate to give us your honest opinion. Cool. I'll kind of give it another 2 minutes here, but if there's no one else, we'll rock and roll. Sweet. Hans.
Sorry, I jumped on another call. My boss was calling me right as you answer me to go with my question. I was like, oh shoot, got to get the boss first. But
that's fine.
That event that you guys had in Q1 in California, what was that one and where is it located?
Yeah, totally. Let me jump in here. Actually, Dan's on the call, and as long as Dan, you maybe want to jump in on that one. San Joaquin County. San Joaquin, yeah. What does the DOG stand for, Dan? Drone Operations Group. Oh, cool. He thinks. So probably that one. It would be cool. A bit of a, we've been kind of talking about it, but it'd be cool to do, and maybe, like one on the west and one on the east, just kind of like bringing together a bunch of folks that are using it and just doing a bit of a day long thing. Like we can rent out a conference room, maybe. I'm just shooting from the hip here, but rent out a conference room and get folks to come talk about it, and we can kind of do some real in person, have our own kind of mini in-person conferences, just to kind of really make sure that we're, dialed and focused. Dan says French Camp, McKinley, and San Joaquin County is leading the charge. Hans, Dan will introduce you.
Oh, perfect. Sounds good.
Sweet, man. Okay. You guys, thanks so much for your time. Don't hesitate to reach out. Really great to kind of get to chat with everybody. The questions were great. And yeah,